and I call the honourable member for Hughes.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I look forward to having a forensic rebuttal of the contribution for the member for Parramatta. But firstly, Deputy Speaker, I must admit, it is very disappointing. It is disappointing in this parliament that we hear time and time from Labor members coming in talking about a cut to education funding. They think that what they can do, if they can repeat this untruth enough, if they're all trained about in their speaking notes, that they stand up and go, oh, there's this $30 billion cut to school funding, that the public will believe it. But the public is starting to wake up. We've seen this over and over again, Deputy Speaker. We've seen it with their Mediscare campaign. Complete and utter falsehoods. We've seen it also last week, Deputy Speaker, where they rolled out a young gentleman who turned out to be a Labor Party member, and they put him up in front of the microphone, and he talked about how he was having his penalty rates cut. It was going to cost him $100 a day. It turned out he was a Labor Party member, and he was working for Coles and didn't have a cent cut from the penalty rates. This practice of what we are seeing from the Labor Party time and time again of just blatant untruths, Deputy Speaker, it does our political system poorly, and it does all of us as members of Parliament poorly, Deputy Speaker. Now, Deputy Speaker, the facts are very, very clear. There are no cuts. Not a single cut. In fact, Deputy Speaker, from 2014, the first time the Coalition got to spend money on education, to 2017, there's no cuts. In fact, we're not actually spending, it's 38% more. We are spending 38% more in 2017 than the Labor-Gillard government did. So how anyone can come in and say, oh, it's a cut, it's a big cut, 38% more. Now, I'll take that interjection, because I'll tell you this is the deception of the Labor Party that they're involved in this education funding. And as the member for Parramatta said, oh, all the spending was in years 5 and 6. Because you know what, Deputy Speaker? When you put the spending in year 5 and 6, you don't have to show where the money comes from. It was a complete and utter con job. They had all the spending backloaded because they did not have a clue where they were getting the money from. Now, a few members of the Labor Party want to come into this parliament and say, well, we want to spend, on top of the 38% additional the Coalition's put in above the record amounts, you know, where we are now. If you want to spend $30 billion more, you have to say where the money is coming from. So what taxes are you going to increase to fund that $30 billion? What tax? If you're not going to increase taxes, what other areas of expenditure are you going to cut? Deputy Speaker, now, we've seen this hypocrisy all the time. And the member, I think it was the first member from the Labor Party, talked about betraying our children. What betrays our children is governments that get in and borrow money just for their own popularity and spend it. Because it's our children that we burdened with the paying back the interest and eventually paying back that money. Already, on the money this previous Labor government, in the debt and their reckless and wasteful and politically motivated spending that we saw over the 6 years. Now, I know the member at the table wasn't involved, so we cannot blame him, but many of the other members were here. That 6 years, the debt that they ran up, we now have to find $1 billion every single month just to pay the interest bill on that. And that continues to increase, Deputy Speaker. And they want to go and borrow another $30 billion. So if you really want an extra $30 billion in education, say so. Say where the money is coming in. Don't come into Parliament and mislead people about there's some $30 billion cuts when the facts are we're actually spending 38% more. Now, Deputy Speaker, the member for Parramatta also asked why what she called the business tax cuts are spread over 10 years. Deputy Speaker, this shows the poor standard of Labor members of how they simply fail to understand business and economics. The reason that those tax cuts are spread out over time is so businesses can make the investment or plan their investment today, spend the money in the years to come, and by the time their investment, Deputy Speaker, turns a profit, they know that they'll be paying a lower tax rate. Now, if we are going to make our country richer, wealthier, have more money and grow the economy, Deputy Speaker, we need to get an internationally competitive tax rate. Ken Henry, not a friend of the Coalition, a friend of the Labor Party, said last week that even the modest plan that we have to get a corporate tax rate down to 25% is not enough. Deputy Speaker, when Ken Henry says that, it's about time the Labor Party listens, because we've got to get this economy moving. If they want to get more money put into education, it's all about getting the economy moving and getting more growth.
Here, here.